You know the feeling, that punch to the gut, the shock, the confusion, that sickening realization that you really, really should have seen it coming. Betrayal. But what if I told you there's a way to see it coming every single time? Not by becoming paranoid, but by becoming perceptive. Today, we're cracking open the anatomy of betrayal with a framework I call the Lipstick Theory. Consider this your personal blueprint for seeing the hidden signals people send right before they let you down.
But let's get right to it. Why does it always feel like a surprise? I mean, think about the last time it happened to you. The main feeling wasn't just anger or sadness, was it? It was shock. Pure, unfiltered shock. You felt blindsided, like you missed something huge. But what if you didn't miss it? What if the clues were there the whole time and you were just trained to look in all the wrong places?
Here's the uncomfortable truth. From the time we're kids, we're trained to be polite. We're taught to take people at their word. I've got your back. Oh, you can trust me. We accept the official story, the pretty words they hand us. But the truth? The truth isn't in the words. It's in the patterns underneath the words. Betrayal is never just one single action. No, it's the dramatic final act of a play that's been running for weeks, maybe even months, right in front of us. So, how do we learn to see the play while it's still happening? How do we read the script nobody is showing us? Well, that's exactly what the lipstick theory is for. Think of it as a mental model for reading the subtext of human behavior. This isn't about becoming cynical or distrusting everyone. It's about becoming discerning. It's about learning to see what's really there, not just the carefully polished performance people want you to see. At its heart, the lipstick theory is all about spotting the mismatches, the incongruities. Here's how to think about it. Someone puts on bright, confident red lipstick to present this flawless image for a big meeting. But if their hands are trembling under the table, that lipstick is just a distraction, isn't it? The theory teaches you to look right past the lipstick and see the trembling hands. It's all about spotting that gap between their performance and their reality. The theory breaks all this down into 3 critical signals you need to watch for. First, there's verbal dissonance. Second is emotional leakage. And the third, and honestly the most important, is pattern deviations. Once you learn to spot these 3, you'll start seeing the hidden currents in every single interaction you have. Let's break down that first one. All right, signal number 1, verbal dissonance. Now, this is the most common clue, and it's actually the easiest one to spot once you know what you're looking for. It's that clash between the words someone says and the energy, the tone, and the body language they use while saying them. Put simply, the message and the messenger are completely out of sync. You've been here. I know you have. You share some amazing news, maybe a promotion, a new relationship, and a friend looks at you and says, "I'm so happy for you. Really, you completely deserve it." On the surface, the words are perfect, right? They're exactly what a supportive person is supposed to say. But your gut is screaming that something is just deeply wrong. And here's why your gut is right. Just look at the mismatch. What they say is all positive and supportive, but what they signal, that's the truth. You see that tiny hesitation right before they speak? A tone that's just a little too flat, totally missing the warmth of real joy? Their eyes break contact for just a split second too long. Their words are saying celebration, but their energy is screaming envy. That, my friend, is verbal dissonance. It's the very first crack in their mask. Okay, let's move on to the second signal. This one's a little more subtle, but it's often way more revealing. It's called emotional leakage. This is what happens when the real feelings a person is trying to suppress, like anger, contempt, or fear, leak out in these tiny, involuntary microexpressions or gestures. They just can't keep the truth completely contained. Think about a time you had to confront someone, a partner, a coworker, about an issue. They look you dead in the eye and say with this forced, plastic calm, "No, I'm not upset at all. Everything is fine." They're playing the role of the reasonable, in-control adult. But their body? Their body is staging a quiet rebellion against their word. Their words are a calm denial. But what's their body signaling? You might notice their jaw is clenched just a little too tight. Their posture has suddenly gone rigid, defensive. And if you're quick, for just a fraction of a second, you might see the corner of their mouth pull back in a flash of contempt. These are emotional leaks. They're unconscious tells that reveal the real emotion bubbling right under the surface. You see, words are a choice. The body doesn't lie nearly as well. And that brings us to the third and by far the most powerful signal of them all, pattern deviations. Now, the first 2 signals can be momentary tells in a single conversation, but a pattern deviation,
that's a fundamental shift in their established behavior over time. It is the ultimate red flag because it tells you that something deep inside them, their motives, their situation, maybe even their loyalty to you, has changed.
So the key here is that you're not looking for just one off moment. You're looking for a break in their baseline behavior. You know, that friend who always texted back within an hour now takes days to reply, and it's always with some vague excuse. Or the business partner who was always so careful with money is suddenly making reckless, lavish decisions. These are not just quirks. These are giant data points signaling a seismic shift that you are not being told about.
This is exactly why learning to observe someone's baseline, their normal, predictable way of being, is the most critical skill you can possibly develop. An unexplained deviation from that baseline is the loudest alarm bell you will ever get. It tells you that the person you thought you knew might not be the person standing in front of you today. Their priorities have shifted, and you are probably no longer one of them.
Okay, so now you can see the signals, but look, knowledge without action is totally useless. So what do you actually do with this information? The goal here isn't to become some paranoid detective interrogating everyone in your life. No, the goal is to move from passive awareness to strategic advantage. It's about taking this knowledge and using it to protect your energy, your assets, and your peace. It's about taking back control. So here's your actionable blueprints. Number 1, calibrate the baseline. This means you start paying conscious attention to how people normally are. What's their usual tone? How do they typically talk about success? Know what normal looks like, so that abnormal becomes impossible to miss. Number 2, observe, don't absorb. When you spot one of these signals, your first instinct is to feel hurt or confused. You have to resist that. Detach emotionally. Become a neutral observer. That clarity is your power. Number 3, trust the pattern, not the apology. When you call someone on a pattern deviation, you're almost always going to get a smooth, believable excuse. Ignore it. The pattern is the truth. The apology is just more lipstick. And finally, number 4, act on insight, not emotion. This doesn't mean you cause a huge, dramatic confrontation. It means you make quiet, strategic moves. If a business partner's spending habits change, you don't accuse, you quietly audit the accounts. If a friend becomes distant and envious, you don't demand an explanation, you simply stop sharing your biggest wins with them. You adjust the access they have to you based on the data they're giving you. So we end on this. The lipstick theory isn't just a defense mechanism. It's a tool for building a life that's based on reality, not on wishful thinking. It lets you see the hidden architecture of all your relationships. So the real question is, once you can see the blueprint, what will you choose to build? Will you construct stronger boundaries, more authentic connections, a safer, more successful future? The blueprint is yours now. Go build something real. And if you want to continue mastering the art of perception, subscribe to Dark Blueprint, like this explainer, and share it with someone who needs to see it. Then go explore our other videos for an even deeper level of mastery.